Okay, so kind of in my limited experience, I have some experience with, literacy assessments. So I've done a lot of learning on literacy assessments. So I kind of just wrote the ones that I have done. I've also participated in a bunch, just like from internships and stuff. But from the small time where I did kind of lead a class or make some plans, I have experience with written work, just kind of having them write. I believe it was like fourth grade, having them write like a paragraph at the end of the class or something. Worksheets, I did like a scaffold, sentence structure with a word bank for vocabulary. And then just overall phonological awareness, just practicing that with some of the younger groups I've worked with. So, and assessing that towards the end of their lessons or end of their, whenever we'd have progress reports or whatever, we would do that. So kind of the new learning I had was just, assessing an idea as opposed to assessing, an objective, or kind of just assessing, what are we learning, assessing what we're learning and what we are hoping that they got away from it and figuring that out. And one big thing that I really kind of touched with was just like potential risk of background knowledge. Now, obviously in the learning I've done, background knowledge is very important, especially if you have students who are struggling a little bit and you need to use background knowledge for that. Or another class I took learning about students who spoke multiple languages and relating what we are learning to maybe something in their culture, something that would apply to them in a way, and kind of understanding that, hey, sometimes it doesn't work for everyone, and there's risks to maybe creating confusion, more so than helping them or aiding them with the assignments that they're learning. So I thought that was it really stuck with me to kind of know, like, hey, if in the future when I use this background knowledge for their assessments or for just in general, it really stuck with me thinking and knowing now that sometimes you have to be really careful with that and figuring that out. So that kind of resonated with me a little bit. So, and just how to apply, or I guess just take a break and, some questions I had. The only one I can really think about is how maybe you can incorporate normal informal assessments. How can you use that as a final assessment? Just at the end, just asking them where their confidence level is, and then using that in their actual. Let's say we have a student who I say, hey, a number 1 through 5, how confident are you in this lesson? They give me a 5, and when I get their informal or their formal assessment and saying they're struggling, how can you adopt that? Maybe the student thinks that they know it better than they actually do. So how can you kind of adopt that a little bit was something interesting I had a thought of. So, how to apply our assessments. Once they have, worksheets is one thing I wrote down, just saying, keep hold of those worksheets, see how they do over time. That also goes on with the progress monitoring. So just seeing how their progress is going over time with different things and using that to then apply to future learning and future lessons. And then something else that I kind of like, that I'd like to incorporate is having like a notebook in class, or like something like a writing notebook. I remember doing that as a kid, and a lot of the places I practiced at or observed also do that strategy as well. So it's something I think is a really good idea with seeing how they're doing over time. Something that we did when I was an intern for kindergarten was they would write the same sentence every day for a couple months, and then over time seeing how well that improved their handwriting, their grammar, spelling, everything, and just seeing over time how that changed. So that's all I got.